Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, using the Gilded Tarot Royale by Ciro Marchetti, text by Barbara Moore. There's the box if you want to see it, and I know the website's here. I think it's at the bottom. If I could read it. Llewellyn, I think. Llewellyn.com. There's a couple other socials there if you're interested. Supportive Oracle cards. Spellcasting Oracle cards by Barbara, Flavia, and Lisbeth. There, you get their full names on there. That way, if you want to see how they're spelt. And then there's website for them, a couple websites actually. She Who Is Art is what pops out to me, but if anything else there, makes you interested, go ahead and go for it, of course. And finally, the dice I'm using, most of them come from the dice shop, I think. mathartfun.com, and then there's this Tom Anders. I have a 21-sided dice, which does omit the Fool, but that's what I use for the major arcana, and then I got a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana and a 4-sided dice for the element of the minor arcana. And there's the information if you want it. There's also this part. I almost forgot to show that. If that's something you're interested in, if you want to use that, go ahead and use that if you want to follow that down. All right. And with that being said, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again, and over to your reading. Hello, Gemini. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. Readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Gemini? Let's keep going. I like what I'm seeing. I'm just like, I don't want to count, don't want to count the chickens before they're hatched, or whatever that saying is. Okay, so do you want this? There's something being offered to you. So, the contract. Now, it depends on the contract, clearly. If something is too predictable, it can kind of weigh down Gemini, you know what I mean? Just kind of bore you, and it becomes difficult. It kind of depends what the contract is, and I'm getting that there is one coming forward towards you. So I feel like the whole point is they're trying to help you understand what's going on here, to help you know if this is something you really do want, and if you do want it, how can this go to your benefit, that type of thing. Because I feel like maybe you've passed up things, or maybe you have accepted. I feel better with that one, actually. Maybe you've accepted contracts in the past, and after everything was said and done, you're like, maybe that wasn't for me, or it's kind of like it was a long contract, and you're like, maybe a shorter version would have been more to your liking. I'm not sure if you're going to have that ability to decide on the length of this contract, but you might. So let's keep going. So I feel like maybe you're a little, I don't know, they're just trying to help you get in the right mindset so you know. I don't know, because I'm like, when you see this coming forward, do you want it or do you not, is the question. It depends on how much negotiability you have in it, clearly. So let's keep going forward. It's coming in fairly soon. If it hasn't shown up yet, it seems like it's going to show up in the next... I mean, it's a general read, so I kind of get anywhere from the next 2 days to 2 months. So whenever it shows up, it does show up with a lot of energy. And I feel like somebody just kind of pulls it forward. Like, hey, Gemini, do you want this? You want this? That. You want that? Whether it's 2 days or 2 months, hopefully this reading makes sense when it needs to make sense for you. Maybe like, oh, I remember that. Maybe go back and check that. When it comes forward, they're speaking your language. this is a great card for you. Sometimes it talks about Aquarius energy. It doesn't have to, but high intellect, a lot of mental stimulation. They bring something together in a very strong manner, and there's a lot of this going to your benefit. So it looks good to start. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but contracts or long contracts or like, I love it at first, and then it just starts, weighing me down, and then it becomes more of a burden than a blessing. So like, I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to make a smart decision, and I do think actually there might be some negotiability in the beginning. Because I feel like you're kind of like, well, what if I want this, or what about this, or is this opportunity there, or does it have to be that way, or do we have some like variations we can do with this, blah, 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 blah. They are talking to you. They're working with you. They're like, yeah, okay, Gemini, let's think about that. Let's talk about that. And it's kind of like, is it just negotiable now, or is it also negotiable later? Once you sign your name on the line, for example, if you're buying a house, once you bought it, you bought it. There might be a lot of negotiation prior to the sale, but once it's sold and it's yours, then it's your dish. Then it's like it's a done deal. It's yours. You got to deal with it the way you got to deal with it. So how long does the negotiation last? That type of thing. Okay, I don't think this is bad right now. You got a lot of good cards here, but I'm just like, there's this nervous energy with it. Like, is this really good for me? You have the ability to have victory here. I keep getting also like, looking at where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go, there is a bit of realistic energy, kind of like, for example, if you want a job that's very stable and has a stable paycheck, a good paycheck and very stable, there's usually a bit of monotony with it. So it's kind of like, what's the balance here? What's the nature of this beast? So it's almost like, taking that into reference for this situation, because you do have the ability to get what you want here, but it doesn't mean it will always be as stimulating. But it's kind of like, I feel like you know that better than I do, even watching this. Kind of like when you look back at things, like they're only exciting for a short amount of time, or as long as they are, and then they go into their monotony. Is this something where when it goes into its monotony, you can still kind of go with it, or you can find ways to keep it fresh for yourself? Let's go a little farther. For this situation to go forward, it may all right. I think this is interesting where this is going next. This is what not to do. Only go so far with the negotiation. Be careful about the randomness. That's not even a word. Randomness, that's a word. Be careful of the randomness. If they keep giving you new offers and new offers and new offers, at some point you got to realize that like, they know that stimulates you to see different angles, different possibilities. But there's going to be this point where it's like, okay, I have this possibility, but it just like, we just keep evolving it. And even I'm realizing that we're not choosing anything. I don't want to live in possibility forever. I don't want to live, like, for example, if you're living in an apartment and you want to buy a house, it's nice to have all these possibilities, but I don't want to just keep looking at possibilities and like 3-4 years go by and I'm still living in this apartment because I haven't chose the house. I don't want to keep going possibility to possibility to possibility. I feel like even you're going to be like, yeah, okay, wait, we need to start choosing something. We want to be careful not to get stuck in this possibility. I know that Gemini likes that. I know you like a lot of possibilities. I do. But again, it's like just living in an apartment for 4 years and then realizing I saw so many possibilities. And also, if we're going to use that same, the real estate market for an example, houses available today may not be available in a couple weeks or even tomorrow sometimes. So you're looking at possibilities that have a shelf life. And you don't want to keep looking at possibilities and just everything just keeps passing you by. We got to keep that in mind too. Here's what they're advising to do. Okay, so we're using the real estate thing as an example. Assuming that, you have the money for this. It's an example. It's just an analogy. When you get to this part where there's just possibility after possibility, it just keeps coming, it just keeps coming, it's hard to make a decision, but I feel like you're going to realize, like, there's just possibility after possibility that aren't leading anywhere. That's the time they're saying step back and just take a break from it. It is the Thief card with the Seven of Swords. It's, I don't know. I just feel like it's a take a step back, take a break. Let this subject cool off for a while. So maybe, you live in an apartment, you've been looking for 4 months. It's just possibility after possibility. It's getting really hard to choose. Even when you do choose something, it looks like it slips right out from under you. Step back. Go, you know what? For the next 2 months, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to choose. I'm just going to live in this apartment for the next 2 months, and then we'll see in 2 months what I want to do. Because I feel like you will pick it up on your terms. You know what? You may say 2 months. It may be 3-4 months. It could be 2-3 weeks. It's up to you. But it's like, step back, let your energy settle. You're going to know when your energy is calm and ready to go back into this. But they're saying when there's possibility flying at you all over the place. And again, it is kind of nice, but it's kind of like even you are realizing this isn't going anywhere. What is this doing for me? Step back. Give the subject a rest. You will return to it a lot stronger. You will return to it ready to make a decision. Things will feel better for you. You need a break. You need a break from that subject. Cool. Okay. Now the next thing's coming in. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, I see it differently now. Okay. I'm gonna stop. Okay. The Hermit and the Seven of Fire reversed. Seven of Fire reversed is letting down your guard. The Hermit is kind of like thinking about things a little bit more closely, thinking about it in the sense of making a decision. It's kind of like I'm heading towards something. It's kind of like if we're going to use the real estate thing again. I looked at all these different types of places, all these different types of houses. Now, after seeing 50 houses, or who knows how many, there's like 5 or 6 of them I really liked. And the reason I liked them is because of these characteristics. I've honed it in. So I know what type of house I want. I know what things really like jumped out to me. Like, oh, I would have liked that. I really would have liked that. Your opportunity, boom, it's going to show up right in front of you. You're going to know, all right, this is one of the ones I would be happy with. Okay. You're also going to, I see, if you take that break, you're going to know, like, I need to either choose or just be like, oh, there's another one that got out of my, slipped out of my grasp again. You're going to know you need to choose. It's going to show up. It's the right thing. It's, for example, if it's real estate, right price, right place, right characteristics. This one will work. Opportunities there. I feel like you're going to know you need to choose. And I feel like it's kind of like, you know what, I don't want to go on this for another few years. I'm choosing this one. Putting in the offer. Okay, so there's a lot coming in. I feel like this is where it's going. It's not bad, but I do see like there's stress and there's stagnancy. During the process of you choosing, and like once you've chosen, I should say, it's still part of the process of the choosing after you've chosen. It does seem to like make me a little nervous, a little anxious. It just feels like it's dragging on forever. So it's kind of like I decided today, put in my offer. Okay, they accepted it. But it's going to take 2 to 3 months before I can move in because we got to go through the signing and all this other stuff. And maybe part of the thing was before, we agreed on the price, but they have to fix maybe the roof and maybe something else. So they got it set up. They have, to this date to have it done. You have other people helping you. So I'm making sure that gets done before we even settle, before we even give the money. These things have to be up to par. Once they're up to par, we'll do it. And it takes like 3 months to happen. It's a little bit stressful. It seems to drag on forever. But this is something that once you got it, you got it. It is, when I'm using this real estate analogy, I feel like that makes better sense. It's like once I've chosen, there is some anxiety of going through that finalizing process. Finalizing, whatever you want to call it. But it will be what you want. It will work. There's a lot of anxiety around it. There's a lot of weird energy around this situation until we've signed the contract. I do feel like there's a lot of nervous energy. Like, these 2 cards lead up to this card. Which it says strategy, but I'm seeing somebody sign a contract. Which kind of makes sense. Maybe there is a strategy with it. Maybe there's something that has to go along with this, which makes sense. But I'm like, it seems to be very chaotic and hectic and disappointing until we've made the decision. Once the decision is bam, it's there. This is going to be one of those contracts that is going to work in your favor, is what I'm getting. Are we good? I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.